everyone, today we're going to show you how we make Viking chairs all the way from a basic peasant level up to an Odin level. And for the basic peasant level, you don't even need much. Just a standard 2x12, 8 feet long, and some basic hand tools like a handsaw, hammer, chisel, a ruler, something to mark with, and some sandpaper. So if you want to make life easier on yourself, a drill and a jigsaw would come in handy. So stick around, we'll show you how we do it. Here's a set of plans you can refer back to for the basic chair. Remember that a 2x12 will actually only be 11 inches wide. We're going to cut it into two sections, one 4 feet long, one 3 feet long. We're going to mark in where the pocket is on the backboard. If you're going to use a hammer and chisel to cut it out, you're going to have to mark it on both sides. If you're going to use just the drill and the jigsaw, you only got to do one side. Once you get halfway through, you're going to want to flip it over and go from the other side. Let's talk about the term Viking chair. That is wrong. If anything, they should be referred to as a Norse chair. Viking is a verb, Norse would be where they're from. And I've heard lots of different names for them too. There's Bog Chair, Stargazer Chair, Plank Chair, X Chair, a variety of different terms for them. In reality, the one thing that they're not is actually Norse. But for the purpose of our videos, we're going to treat them as if they were Norse chairs the Vikings used, and we're going to build them as such. And we will get into details a little further on about where they're probably actually from and some more history on them. But for now, we're building Norse chairs. We're going to mark out the seat according to the plans, 13 inches back for the front section, and a 7-inch wide back section. You can cut this out with a handsaw or a jigsaw. Since we got the tools, we're gonna do the initial cuts on the table saw, remembering to stop up early because the bottom of the saw is gonna cut farther than the top of the saw. And then we'll finish it off on the bandsaw. A little bit of shaping on the front of the seat for aesthetics. Some rounding over for bum comfort. And sanding to avoid those nasty splinters where you don't want them. There's our two parts complete. And there we go, our Norse peasant chair. Now, in the class system of the Norse people, on the bottom, of course, was the slaves, but then the lower class people were called Karls. And I can imagine a Norse Karl sitting on a chair like this around the fire, relaxing. But we're going to do even better. We're going to move up to the middle class, which were called yarls, and build a chair for them. So coming up next, a Norse yarl chair. An easier way to make the pocket in the back is to drill a starter hole and then use the jigsaw to cut it out. Saves on all that chiseling. We're going to level out the back of the Jarl chair so we can do some carving. We're going to use 4 different bits, starting with a 3/8 inch bit for large clearance, a 1/4 inch bit, a 1/8 inch bit, and then finally a V bit for the final details. All right, there we go. Out of the CNC machine. Now this particular design, I got an Old Norse Designs. I picked it up on Amazon. There it is. Okay, so this particular design is from the carved side of an Osberg cart. So that's pretty cool. Again, some rounding, shaping, and sanding. We're going to angle the bottom of the feet, so we measure what the angle should be, set up our table saw to match, make sure we mark our board so we don't cut it the wrong way, and there we go. So there we go, our Norse chair. We added the angled feet on the bottom, then we the basic carving on the back. That should really pop once we put the finish on. But so Norse chairs, the first actual recording of a chair like this that we know of is about in the 19th century, and it appears that they came from Africa. So there's no historical fact that they were ever used back in the Norse era, but they became popular over in North America here in about the 1930s when Boy Scouts started making them, and they're great for campfires and things. So, and you'll see them a lot at SCA events, LARPing events, any medieval historical type events. So they've kind of developed that that ancient feel to them. And we're going to continue with that theme. The Jarl chair is nice. It's a little taller than the Peasant chair we made, but we can take it up another step. We're going to make a king chair next and add some more features. We're going to add some wider wings to a portion of the board so we can do a little wider carving up near the top. Again, we flatten the board for the carving and then go ahead and carve it out. There's our completed carving, along with some extra highlights that we added at all 4 corners. Alright, I've marked up some designs on it. Now I'm just going to jigsaw it away. We're going to paint the highlights in the corner. We're going to first seal them with some shellac so we get less bleed. And then we're going to tape over any areas that we don't want paint on, so we have less sanding to do in the end. Alright, it's not a beautiful job, but it's functional. And I think today we're going to do a royal red on those corners for the king's chair. So you want to do really light coats. You're better off doing multiple light coats than a couple of heavy ones. just really light. And we'll come back in, we'll let it sit for 10 minutes, come back in, do another coat. And there we go, our King's chair. The engraving in the back with the colored in highlights, the extra wide wings attached to the side, and again the angled feet. So we're going to do an Odin chair next, the king of the Norse gods, as he rides across the sky on his 8-legged horse. So we're going to add some extra features to it. We're going to do the horns of Odin on top, along with the eye of Odin. We're going to do the spear of Odin, and some representations of the hounds of Odin and the ravens of Odin, all in an extra wide chair, coming up next. Alright, we're starting on the Odin chair. We're going to do some carved dragon horns that we're going to attach to the top. Alright, there's the first horn, and I mostly cut it out. I left just a little bit. We'll run it through the sander to take it out of the outside piece and clean it up. And then we'll just have to figure out what the angle is here. We'll have to do a little trimming so we can attach it to the main piece once it's rounded. Okay, because we didn't cut quite all the way through because I didn't have a backing board on my CNC right now. There's about 1/8 of an inch left. We're going to just run it through the sander and take that 1/8 of an inch off. We're going to engrave an eye of Odin and mark our diameter on it for the cutout marks. Making a rabbet on the back side so it'll fit into the back, which we're just carving on the CNC right now. And we're carving a little profile while we're at it. Then the eye of Odin is going to drop right into that pocket. Oh, that's a beautiful fit. Moving on to the next portion of the carving on the back, 2 banners and the spear of Odin. So down at the bottom here, we're going to do the hounds of Odin, one facing each direction. Okay, so we have the Odin's chair out of the CNC machine. And have it all engraved. Now we got some shaping to do, and I'm going to try to fill that center area with a blue epoxy. Some of the lines are pretty thin. I'm hoping it's going to work, and I think I might also do the spear's letters in the blue epoxy. So now that I'm looking at it, I think I want to shape it a little bit more and bring it, a little more down this way. All right, I've kind of cleaned it up a little, refined it a little bit. There's still more sanding and things to do on it, but I think I like the shape. And then this is going to mount into here. And then we just got to do a little bit of work to figure out our angles so we can mount the horns on. I did a little bit of shaping too on the bottom between the 2 hounds of Odin. Alright, I taped off where we want to do the epoxy fill, just so there's less cleanup again afterwards. So I mixed some blue metallic powder in with the epoxy resin, and we'll fill in the spear. That's what it looks like after sanding. Our 4 chairs side by side. And hidden on the backside, the ravens of Odin. Thanks for watching, and have fun building.